Hey everyone, welcome to This Prepared Life. I'm Allison and I am so glad you are here. So I buy a lot of food in bulk, and one of the things that I buy in bulk is spices. And so my last Azure Standard order was pretty spice heavy, as you can see, and so I need to get these spices out of the plastic bags they are in and get them into a better form of storage. And so I am going to be putting these into jars and using my food saver and the jar sealer attachments to get these ready for my pantry shelves. So first I wanted to go over what I have to package up today, and it's quite an assortment and quite a pile of spices. So I have a massive bag of chives, and these are dehydrated. Typically I grow chives in my garden, but they did not do well last year, and I put chives in everything. I have a bag of crushed chili peppers. I have some curry powder and some ground turmeric that needs bagged up. I have a bag of garlic granules, and sometimes people ask me, what is granulated garlic? And it's just garlic in granular form, not powder. I have a pack of Italian seasoning mix, cumin, ginger root, ground nutmeg and cloves, and then a small bag of cayenne pepper. So when I am buying spices in bulk, I buy them in sizes that we can consume within 6 months to a year. Spices don't actually expire and go bad. They just lose their potency over time. And so I heavily rely on rotation with my spices. So I package spices into a jar that makes sense for how I cook in my kitchen. So for something like cayenne pepper, I'm gonna put that in a small jar because a little bit goes a long way and I don't use as much. But for something like the case of chives, where I am tossing dried chives into soups and eggs and all kinds of different things, I'll use a quart jar for that. So as you are packaging up food, just think about how you cook in your kitchen and package it into the jar that makes the most sense for your family. So some of the supplies you are going to need to do this is a food saver, some kind of vacuum sealer. Mine's a food saver brand from Costco, and I got it, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago. It has been going strong ever since then. They do have a newer one there. I haven't used that one. You're going to need the jar sealer attachments, and these are sold separately. You're going to need the tube to connect the jar to the vacuum sealer, and you're going to need flat lids. You're also going to need a funnel. You don't need it, but it's helpful. And then whatever you're putting into jars. So let's go ahead and get this set up. So you're going to put one side onto your jar attachment, and the other is going to snap into the accessory port. You're going to plug in your food saver, close the lid, and mine needs to be in the operate setting. So I'm going to start with this Italian seasoning mix. I tend to do these spicy things last because powders do tend to get sucked up into this tube, and then I will just clean that at the end rather than do my cayenne pepper now and then have to clean it later. So I'm going to grab my jars, and I'm going to do these in pint size. And I also need to grab some scissors. Okay, so got my scissors. If scissors go missing in your house, I can never find our scissors. I had to run up to my office and get a new pair out of my supply drawer. So, okay, I'm just gonna cut the bag. This jar funnel is great. I will link it in the description, but I use this for canning, but I also use it obviously for dry goods. Oh, that smells amazing. So I just fill the jar. I'm actually gonna open this a little more. And you don't want it to be all the way to the top. You want about an inch of space. I only have a tiny little bit left. Sometimes I will just dump it in the jar in my kitchen, or I will bang these and kind of pack them down a little bit so that I can add a little more. So these are all regular mouth. So I'm going to get 3 lids, and here's a just handy tip. I reuse the lids from my home canned food for dry goods. So when we take these off, if they're not too bent or they're not dented, they'll still seal onto your dry goods because you're not supposed to reuse them for canning, but I reuse them for dry goods all the time. So before you put your flat lids on, you want to wipe the rims just like you would if you were water bath canning or pressure canning, because you want this lid to get a really good seal on the rim of the jar. You should also make sure that your jars have no nicks or scratches or cracks in them. It's not going to compromise the food like it would with water bath canning or pressure canning, but it will prevent the lid from sealing. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is we have our regular mouth attachment, and we're just going to slip this right over the top all the way down on the jar. It's attached here. We're going to attach this one. On mine, I just hit the vacuum seal button. It's a little loud. All right, so mine vacuum seals and then it clicks over to seal. I don't need it to seal this jar because that seal is a heat strip in here. So I go ahead and stop it right now. Pull that off, pull this off. Sometimes this comes out, I just pop it right back in, and the jar is sealed. So now let's get these other 2 done. So see, this one did not seal for some reason. So there could have been, let's see if there's a nick in the jar. Nope, no nick. So I'm going to grab a different lid and see if that works. Let's see, this lid had dried apricots in it. So that means I've already used this twice now because under this little sticker, it's going to say whatever I canned in here. And then on January 9th of 2021, I put dried dehydrated apricots in here. Well, now let's see if we can get it to seal with Italian seasoning. Looks like this one worked. Yep. So one thing I do with anything I have used the jar sealer attachment for is I store it with a ring on. And so with home canned food, you shouldn't store with a ring on. But this is, if this unseals and I have a ring on, it's still going to be fairly contained. And so if I find one that is for whatever reason gotten jostled and popped off and is no longer sealed, I'll still use it in my kitchen. I'm going to go ahead and put these rings on and label these jars and then get started on more of this. So I use Avery labels. You can buy these at Costco in a massive package, and it will last you for years. And so I just cut them in half. and I write what it is. So Italian seasoning. And then I write the date I packed it into the jar. So it is not uncommon for me to have flat lids that have multiple uses. So like this one looks like January of 2022. I canned some apple jam with it. So this one's been used once. Can't tell what that one says, but this one's been used at least 3 times. This one has a little pinprick hole in it, so we'll have to see if that one seals, but that was strawberry jam. This one looks like 3 different sticker marks on it, in addition to some kind of writing. It says FD, which in my lingo means freeze dried. So this had something freeze dried in it, and then 3 different stickers went on top of that. So that one's been used 4 times. And this one has been used twice. So I keep these so that I can reuse them. All right, next, I'm gonna clean this up because I don't wanna get Italian seasoning in whatever I'm doing next, and then I will get started on my next jars. So I don't really wash everything in between because I don't wanna have to worry about possibly introducing moisture into any of these spices. So I will typically have a towel that I'm wiping my funnel out with, and I will wipe out the jar attachment. I will check the tube. Sometimes this tube gets full of powder if it's powdery, and then I will also wipe off the counter. And some things are more messy than others. I am gonna go ahead and get these chives done because it's just a big bag and I'd like to get it out of the way. It also won't make a huge mess because it's not very powdery. So like I said, I do these in quarts. All right, so let's do these chives. Chives are, in my opinion, one of the easiest plants that you can grow in your garden and replace having to purchase that item from the store. You can grow chives in pots, you can grow them in the ground. They are very cold hardy. They come back year after year after year and they get bigger and bigger and bigger. So you can split that plant into multiple plants as it grows in size and have chives all over your property. So we're just going to fill these up. This is going to take quite a few jars. I will say that I did not know how big of a bag I was buying. I thought I was buying the one I always buy, which is about half this size. And so when it came in my order, I was like, oh, well, I have a lot of chives. And I order a lot of my bulk spices from Azure Standard, which is bulk online ordering of natural and organic foods. If I had a Winco near me, I would probably get some stuff at Winco, but I'm about an hour. There's a little too much in this one. Hour and 15 minutes away from the nearest Winco. So I'm going to grab a couple more jars. Probably 4 more jars. Oh, I only have 2 more jars. So I'm going to have to run down to the basement and get some more jars here in a minute. So I add chives to really anything that I want an onion flavor. I add chives to soup and stew, beef stew, any stew. I add chives to eggs, everything. Chives, onions are good in everything. So I will be back. I'm gonna go grab some more quart jars and get the rest of these jarred up. So I have some more jars. Let's get these filled. And then I will vacuum seal them. So I have a tiny little bit left. I'm gonna try a quart. It's probably not enough. Nope. Should have used a half pint. All right, so if you notice my vacuum sealer keeps blinking at me, it's because it's trying to tell me, hey, that didn't seal. But I am bypassing that seal section by releasing the pressure, since I don't actually need this to heat seal the jars for me. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab some lids for these. I am gonna wipe off the rims. And this little pint, I am just gonna put right into my kitchen cabinet. So that one lid that didn't seal, I did set that aside, so I'm not mixing it up. All right, so these are all regular mouth. So let's just go ahead and get them sealed. Okay, so we got all the chives done. And I'm gonna go ahead and do a powder next so that I can show you what the vacuum sealer does when it is trying to do a powder, because it will sometimes suck it up into it. So let's do ginger root, because it's super fine. So, and this one I'm gonna put in a small jar because we don't use a ton of ginger at one time. So I want these to stay sealed. And I typically use a lot of ginger in the winter during like cookie baking season and stuff like that. So again, we're just gonna open this up. And sometimes with the powders, they stick in the bag. So you just make a slit. Oh, that's very strong. Maybe breathe that a little too close to my nose. All right, a little too much. I'm gonna get a spoon. Just kind of spoon some of this out. Jar number 2. And I will move the camera closer when I seal this so that you can see what the vacuum sealer does to it. And I'm just going to even these out. So let's wipe these rims. Get 2 flat lids. This one had chocolate chips in it, and this one at one point contained strawberries. So sometimes you can even see it coming through the tube. I did not see that this time, but I don't know if you caught it when it sucked it up and then it dropped back down. We've got one more jar to do, so we'll see if we can see it again. So let's see if this sealed. Sometimes, oops, with powders, as they suck it up, some of the powder gets between the jar rim and the lid, and then it doesn't seal. But this one did just fine. All right, so next jar, put that on, get your attachment that fell on the floor. All right, so watch right in here. Right there. Yep, sealed just fine. All right, everybody, I was sent something that I thought was pretty neat, and it's a handheld like vacuum sealer, and I haven't used it yet. I did use it once on an empty jar just to kind of play around with it, and I wanted to show you this as a possible no power. You know, if you had no electricity, this might be a solution. Like I said, I haven't used it a lot, so I can't recommend it, but let's see how it works and learn it together. So what am I gonna do? Why don't we do garlic? We'll do some garlic granules. So I'm not quite sure how to know when it's done. The instructions weren't super clear on that. Well, that smells spicy. So let's test this out together. So it comes with its own attachments, and they have this little hole right here and a suction cup with a hole, and you just go like that. So I don't know, let's see how it works. So this fits a lot tighter than the one for my vacuum sealer. And it looks like it has a little valve right here, probably to release pressure. So the only thing I don't know is, how do I know when it's done? So the garlic is moving in there just like the ginger did when, oh, it made a noise. I wonder if that means it's done. I don't know. When the ginger sucked up in the jar, the garlic is moving in the jar, so it's definitely doing something. Oh, well, it's not making noise anymore. Let's see if that means it's done. So release the pressure. That's probably going to be really easy to lose. And take this off. Oh, that came right off. I thought it would be hard to get off since it was so much tighter, but that came right off. Yeah, look at that. So, like I said, non-affiliate, had not even heard of this until they messaged me and they were like, hey, can we send you one to try? Just kind of neat. So, I mean, I could totally see myself when I'm doing smaller batches of things, like just a small batch of freeze-dried food, if I'm not using an oxygen absorber, just getting this out and getting it done real quick rather than having to pull out my food saver. So, that was interesting. I'm gonna try another one just because I'm crazy like that. So we're gonna do a smaller 1/2 pint jar. Oh, no, I should have done a bigger jar. Let's just do a bigger jar. This is a messy process. My house smells like every single spice. It's probably a little easier if you maybe don't do it all at once like I do. Okay, so let's try this again. Flat lid. Put it on. So I'm always on the lookout for electric appliances that I can not replace, but also have a non-powered backup option. And if we were, in a long-term emergency and SHTF scenario, and I was dehydrating a lot of food and preserving a lot of food, this would be a viable option to do that with. So great for a non-powered option, but I actually think that I might be making use of this in my kitchen. Still don't know how to tell when it's done. The last one quit making that dinging noise, and this one still seems to be doing it. I think I'm gonna have to go online to their website and figure that out. I'm just gonna keep going and see if it stops making the dinging noise, and if not, then I'll just pull it off and see what happens. This one does have a bit more air in it than that one does. All right, let's see what's going on here. Oh, nope, did not seal. So I don't know if I had this on too much. Let's try another lid and see what happens. All right, try number 2. Oh, I see the ground moving again in this one like it did the first time. So I don't know if that lid had something on it, or maybe I had it on wrong. Totally could be user error. All right, let's try this one. And if this one doesn't seal, I'm gonna have to, before I use it again, go onto the website. Oh no, so I'm probably sitting here getting an arm workout and pumping this thing for 5 times longer than I need to. I'm not sure, but they both sealed. This one didn't. I don't see any dents, scratches, who knows? So again, not an affiliate or anything, but it's called the Pump and Seal. And I will link this in the description because this was a pretty useful thing. It was neat. Okay, so let's talk about some troubleshooting for a minute. One thing I have noticed, and I have also heard this from others, is that some people have a hard time getting their wide mouth jar sealer to seal. And I have had similar issues, and I don't know if it's just the size of it. It might be just a tad bit bigger than it should be. I'm going to get a wide mouth jar and a wide mouth flat, 2 of them actually, and show you a hack you can do to make it work better. So if for some reason your jar sealer is not sealing in either the regular mouth size or the wide mouth size, you can use 2 lids. So you put one lid on, put another lid over the top of it, put this on. I'm going to go ahead and seal this even though it's an empty jar of air. So there, it's done. So the second lid is usually not sealed on, but in this case it is. This is funny. There you go. So sometimes you just need a little bit of extra height to make it work. And the same thing with a regular mouth. If your regular mouth is for some reason repeatedly not sealing and you can't figure out why, you don't have any nicks or scratches, you don't have any debris, any powder or any kind of food on the rim, your lid is clean, it doesn't have any nicks or dents or scrapes, the seal looks good. So if for some reason you've gone through all those things and it is still not sealing, try using 2 lids. Just put them on there because sometimes it'll just give it this extra tiny bit of height that it needs to seal that bottom flat onto your jar. So I am gonna finish jarring up all of these spices, and I hope that you enjoyed today's video and learning how to use the vacuum sealer and the jar attachments and the pump and seal. So we got to learn to use that together. And I will link everything in the description. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button if you want more food storage, preservation, and homestead content. Thank you so much for being here today.